Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the next in a series of talks that Motorola Solutions is giving on cloud. I'd like to do a quick thank you to Silicon Slopes for hosting today's event. Today's topic is DevOps. If there are any questions during the session, whatever platform you happen to be watching on, please ask those questions. We have people monitoring for those questions, and they'll get them to us. If you're watching this after the fact and it's recorded, you can reach out to myself or Jonathan Akers, the other person presenting with me today, afterwards, and we'll be more than happy to have a discussion with you and chat about DevOps. A quick reminder that there is another session in the series, which takes place on November 3rd, that will cover SRE and sovereign ops. Now let me jump into and share. So my name is Ryan Dobson. I am an engineering manager at Motorola Solutions in the device cloud engineering team. I've been with Motorola for 20 years. I've worked in several different teams doing software development and managing agile teams, now focused on device management and cloud solutions. With me today is Jonathan Akers. Jonathan, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm John Akers. I've been at Motorola for around 17 years, working on various products, mobile applications, and now in our cloud infrastructure on Ryan's team, managing the Radio Central platform.
Thanks, Jonathan. So I want to start off by talking about Motorola Solutions. And this symbol, which internally to Motorola Solutions, we very lovingly refer to as the bat wings. It has a lot of meaning for different people, right? This is very nostalgic for some. This has been on televisions, on phones, on cell phones, on cable boxes, and on two-way radios. And in 2011, Motorola split into two companies, Motorola Solutions and Motorola Mobility. And Jonathan and I are part of Motorola Solutions, who's sponsoring this. You know, they took the two-way radio business, and that's the primary thing that Motorola Solutions was based around. The mobile phone business, that spun off to Motorola Mobility. So today, the products that we are going to be talking about and the solutions we're going to be talking about are around the two-way radio business, and then other things that Motorola Solutions has invested in since 2011. And really what it's become is this mission critical ecosystem. There are four elements that make up that ecosystem. So the mission critical communications, which is what I was just referring to, and that's where Jonathan and I are from. The video security and analytics. So a lot of acquisitions that Motorola Solutions has made and really grown the business around video security and analytics. And then command center software. So all these things together, working with our managed service and support, kind of package everything into one and provide very unique end-to-end mission critical solutions for our customers. Motorola Solutions has grown a lot in each of these areas in the last couple of years. And not only are we the leader in mission critical communications, but now command center software and video analytics, again, providing this whole solution. A couple highlights here, that really show the dominance that Motorola Solutions has in this space, especially around the mission critical communications with over 100,000 customers around the world, private two-way radio networks that are in current operation. Our customers and who we serve really crosses the gambit from our public safety side, which is where 75% of our customer base is, to enterprises, which makes up the remainder 25. Now on the public safety side, we're not just talking about fire and police, like you see here, but statewide systems, federal government, customs and border, lots of agencies within the US, and then also foreign governments and other agencies across the world, mainly focused on public safety and response. In the enterprise side, Motorola Solutions works with a really wide range of customers, from very large theme parks to mining operations to manufacturing to data centers, large data centers that customers have, all across the board, really focused on any kind of enterprise business, from a commercial business all the way to entertainment. Anytime that you see a two-way radio that has the bat wings on it, so if you're at the airport or you're at some event, those devices, that's what we're talking about today. And that's what our services that we provide are focused around. So I have a short video here I want to share that kind of summarizes the whole picture that Motorola Solutions is focused on providing, and how all of our solutions work together to provide this mission critical ecosystem. Oh. Let me bring this up. So I don't know how you feel seeing that. I get pumped up. I think a lot of folks that work at Motorola Solutions, one of the great things about working here is that, the customers we serve and our purpose is pretty altruistic and very empowering, right? That we're helping those that help others. And our identification, seeing videos like that, where, first responders and helping support their broader mission that they have, is really motivating and really exciting. A lot of folks that work here have that same excitement when they see videos like that, and easily identify with the broader mission that Motorola Solutions has. So now that I talked about Motorola Solutions in general, the team that I run, and that what we're here to talk about today, is the device cloud engineering organization, the solutions that we build. So our purpose is to provide cloud services and capabilities that enable the mission critical work group communication solutions. So really what we're talking about is device management functions, firmware upgrades, configurations of those devices, the two-way radio devices primarily, the back-end device analytics and telemetry. So what are the devices doing? How are they being used? How can we share that information, not just with customers, but internally, so that we can make our products better and we can understand how customers are using them. And then lastly, the feature, service, and offer enablement. So what this is about, controlling the features, enabling them, being able to put those device management service offering packages around all of the capabilities that we're providing in order to make it easy for customers, in order to add new features, add new devices, expand their fleets, things like that. On our product side, the need to do device management for these two-way radios has been around since the first radio existed. How do you configure it? How do you put the frequencies in the device? How do you manage that? And at the beginning, when they started out in this business, it was really about the manufacturer needing to be involved in every decision or change that they needed to make. So if you needed to make a change or expand your system, you were contacting Motorola. This was quite a long time ago, but this was the way that things were up until the 80s and 90s, where custom configurations were done by the manufacturer. And when we get into the 90s and 2010, in this time frame, as technology was expanding and capabilities were now added for PCs, creating DOS-based solutions and Windows-based solutions that allowed you to program one device at a time was a real enabler for our customers. So they're now able to install software locally, connect to a device, and change and manage that configuration on their own. But as their fleets grew in size and in complexity, that solution just was not enough anymore. And what we saw was a need for enterprise-grade solutions that would allow for fleet management operations. Looking at the entire fleet, integrity of those configurations, sharing templates of configurations across thousands of devices. And our customers range in size. So on the enterprise side, in the consumer space, you can have a customer that has 10, 20, 30 radios up to a couple hundred. Some large operations have larger. On the public safety side, typically you're talking about larger number of devices. It can be upwards to 30 to 40,000, depending on the customer. Statewide systems, countrywide systems, lots and lots of radios. So they needed this enterprise grade solution. But as that started to mature and grow, and as their systems expanded, they saw a need for quite a bit more in capability, mainly around being able to do things like role-based access, where you have custom user-defined roles, agency partitioning. Many of the terms that we're used to talking about with cloud-based solutions on the back end, our customers were asking for in our on-premise products that were used to manage their fleets. So in 2018, we started, Motorola Solutions made the decision to start on a next generation public safety device. That device is called Apex Next. Now, there are a lot of capabilities that this device provided that made it very unique in the space. The most primary being that we have now a broadband data connection to the device. So this is a public safety device with a data pipe that allows us to now augment the voice services that we're providing with data on the back end. So not only is a mission critical device, but this mobile access to intelligence at the edge was enabled by us being able to run apps now on the Apex Next device. And we had a natural user interface that we can use. You saw how much the screen is much bigger than the typical screen, looks more like a smartphone size, and allows for touch in order to control. So this is really the first of its kind in the public safety space, that it was this broad in scope and had this level of impact. But what I wanted to focus on was the streamlined ownership experience, because this is where we were able to introduce our cloud solution and really start to move the needle on how we provide next generation device management solutions for our customers. And that was with the introduction of Radio Central. So Radio Central is our cloud-based device management platform that is used in order to manage and configure the Apex Next device, as well as provide this full end-to-end improved customer experience, from opening the box to their first usage, through configuring it, through the lifetime of the device. We also added another service, which was smart programming. This allows us to do the same capabilities over LTE. So this device supports both Wi-Fi and LTE, Radio Central being the back end that data part, if we're using LTE, that's what the smart programming service is. Again, providing solutions that not only enable customers, but then enable kind of the end-to-end managed service package that can be provided around it. And I have another short video here that I'll show that kind of summarizes what I shared about Radio Central and the impact that it's had on our customers. So now I'll hand it over to Jonathan, who will talk about our DevOps journey that accompanied the introduction of Radio Central and the Apex Next device. Jonathan?
Yep. Thank you, Ryan. So as Ryan and I were putting together the material for this presentation, it was pretty cool to reflect on how far we've come in such a short amount of time. So this journey that we went on now to build this new product, we had to change, and this change had to happen fairly quickly. So what we're talking about here is a transition from basically October of 2018 to today in 2020. And a lot of what we are going to talk about and show was realized as early as 2019. So previously we had a release cadence that was a 3+ month off ramp where we would stabilize the code and not introduce new features. Now today we're actually promoting new changes to production at the end of our sprints, or auto promoting all the way to production. Testing, previously we had a mix of manual and automated tests. Today everything is 100% automated. There are zero discussions where we're talking about whether we have enough time to build testing into the user stories that we're working on. The team holds each other accountable. They hold me accountable. This is just built into our culture now. Some of the key metrics we used to zero in on were simply defect backlog, team velocity, and things like the number of successful nightly builds that we were having. And today we're focused on the DevOps key metrics, which we'll get into a little bit later. Onboarding previously wasn't a focus of the team, but today in 2020, this has been a focus of our team. We have a goal that people onboarding to our team can commit to production within their first week. This is something we take very seriously. It's changed a lot of our process. It touches everything from where you store your documentation, moving things to READMEs instead of documentation that lives outside the code. So moving things closer to the code. Things like how fast you can start up your dev environment, spin a new one up, how much can we automate of that? Things like ownership used to be kind of a shared ownership model to today where Scrum teams and even individuals are owning microservices and are held accountable for it. Tech debt used to be taken at kind of an ad hoc nature, but today, every sprint team is taking a piece of tech debt for each sprint. And I think anyone that's built software and delivered software on tight deadlines knows that this is a constant battle. Even with brand new products, you're making decisions on tech debt from sprint to sprint. Team initiatives were somewhat limited back in 2018, but today in 2020, the team is taking on a lot of initiatives that were thought of by themselves to make the developers' lives easier. These are things that come up in retrospectives that we prioritize right alongside feature delivery. So things like our DevOps team portal, which I'll be showing a little bit later, our self-service portal, which is a front end to all of our APIs, things like chatbots to announce telemetry events or to announce issues that are happening in our pipelines, et cetera. Incident response in 2018, we didn't have any, but today, 2020, we're fully integrated with RunScope and PagerDuty. So this is your classic tech stack slide. So this isn't to show just the number of integrations we've done, but just to show how quickly your team can kind of adopt a lot of newer technology to help you release your product. So all of these serve a purpose, and we were able to onboard with them very quickly and utilize them. So what I really wanted to share and talk about was something that the team actually came up with themselves, which is our DevOps team portal. So it is our one-stop shop for our automated DevOps metrics. And when you build this into the culture, some of these ideas don't come from you, and it's great when the team is coming up with these ideas themselves. So things like tracking our production cost over time, embracing that DevOps mentality that you own even your production costs. When we get our bill for our Azure services, we're taking a hard look at what we can do in our architecture or other things that we should do to reduce our costs. And the team is really showing ownership with wanting to take action on those things. We could track things like our deployment health, our component ownership, and our delivery performance metrics, which I'll be showing in a little bit, and our CI/CD pipeline health. So people are probably very familiar with this scorecard. I have a link and a reference down here, but this is the DORA report. And it's something that we came across when we were trying to figure out what metrics we should use to find out if our team is effective at DevOps or not. And sort of what the industry is rallying around and what we definitely look at are these metrics here. So we have things like the deployment frequency, which is how often you're deploying your code to production or releasing it to end users. Lead time for changes. So once the developer clicks commit, how long does it take until it shows up in production? Your time to restore service. So how long does it take you to recover from an incident? And your change failure rate. How often are you having to do rollbacks? So for us, being open and transparent is something we talk about with our team all the time, is how we rate ourselves. And we've moved up over time, but today we're high performers for our deployment frequency. We're deploying about once per day and once per week. Our lead time for changes are between 1 week and 1 month. Our time to restore service is less than a day. And our change failure rate, as you can see, elite, high, and medium are all statistically similar. So we rank ourselves at high, 0 to 15%. But we have an organizational goal to be elite in 2020. So it's coming up here shortly. And we've made decisions on our architecture and our CI/CD to make sure that we can realize this. So double clicking on deployment frequency. So this is hosted in our custom DevOps team portal. And to show the culture of embracing these metrics, the team built this in the website, in our internal website, so we could keep track of this. And you can see at the bottom, going from left to right over time, we've improved from October of 2018 to where we are today. So you could see that we were doing much bigger, infrequent deployments to our production system at the sprint boundaries. And then we got a little bit better and faster with smaller and more frequent deployments more often. But we evolved as a team, and we're definitely not done. We have a long way to go still, but we started with a manual promotion to all of our environments. And then at one point, we got pretty confident we could turn on auto promotion through our staging environment. And when we did this, it caused a lot of issues. There was a lot of breakage, had a lot of phone calls at 6 o'clock in the morning that we broke teams that were dependent on our code working in an environment. So we shut that off. We regrouped. We got a list of issues that we had uncovered from, it was basically we were missing automated test cases. And we took the next sprint to go and attack those things and approve. And we turned back on auto promotion back to our staging environment. And we never had to turn it back off. And then we had a new a goal for all of our new services. So even though our product is only a couple of years old now, we're actually building a new version of it. You're always iterating on your architecture, and we have all of our new microservices that we're building are going to be auto promoted to production from the start. And that goes into our lead time. So the lead time is, again, from when the developer clicks commit, commit their changes, how long it takes to actually show up in production. So for us, again, this is something that we're hosting in our custom DevOps team portal. So you can see our average here is about 19 days. But what's interesting is our minimum is 3.4 minutes. And this is highlighting the big difference between our legacy, only a couple of years old, microservices to what we have now with our new capabilities of auto promoting all the way to production. And those can actually, you can deliver value to customers in production in 3.4 minutes from when a developer clicks submit on their code. Our max, we have 127 days, so we have some outliers in our data. But this graph below is showing over time for every microservice, how long it's taking work items to reach production for each of those microservices. So you can see it's dependent on the microservice, and it shows you kind of your CI/CD setup for that microservice. Okay, time to restore service. So this is currently not hosted in our custom portal, but right now we get the data straight out of PagerDuty. But what I wanted to highlight here is just kind of a change in philosophy for us. You could see over time going from left to right, we had previously a lot of high number of high urgency incidents. We had high mean time to acknowledge and high mean time to resolve incidents. And we improved drastically over time. And the way that we did that was that we moved to a model of, instead of having 5 people on PagerDuty, these are great people, great developers, but when you have 5 people on call for an incident, sometimes there was a lot of looking around for someone else to pick up the issue. And once we moved to a model of having a single person on call that was responsible, you can see the drastic difference in our metrics from just having one person on call. And then change failure rate. Hopefully sometime we could show this when we're done, but this is something that's under construction. If anyone else at the conference has experience here, it'd be great. Reach out, let us know, but this is what we're working on now. And then the last thing I wanted to highlight is this component ownership that I touched on before. So this is something that actually came from the team in the retrospectives, that we were getting consistent feedback from teams. They didn't know who to go to when things weren't working or certain microservices were out of, they were deployed to different versions, were deployed against different environments. And so we built this component ownership card. And so every microservice in our DevOps team portal has a card. So you can see in the upper left-hand corner, this is the firmware operations service microservice. We have a primary owner, a backup owner, and then the ability for someone to just email that team directly if they have any questions. But we also highlight other things on this card and show it very transparently to the rest of the team. Some of the static code analysis that we have, things like the bugs, the code coverage, the code smells, code complexity, cognitive complexity, and then the code coverage. But then also one of the most important things for us is to actually see for that given microservice, what version is deployed where. Something very simple like that. This is extremely helpful to our team. So in this case, this card is highlighting that in the dev environment and QA and stage and prod, there's a different version than what is actually was the latest CI run. So this team is getting daily emails to remind them to go take a look at why this CI version didn't make it into dev. So I'll turn it back to you, Ryan.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jonathan. So, no matter what solution we're building or what process we're using in order to deliver it, the truth really comes from what our customers are telling us about the solution overall, right? DevOps allows us to move much faster and provide solutions much quicker than we could in the past. And, when we were rolling this out, some of the feedback we got from customers, there are two of them that I listed here. A lot of the technology and the capabilities that we're providing for our radios are things that in the consumer space, we're kind of used to already. So going to a cloud service to configure something that gets pushed over Wi-Fi, we're doing that with a lot of the consumer devices. But this is the first time that these things are being introduced at this scale to this land mobile radio, two-way radio market. So the feedback we're getting is great, right? It's saying that being able to push these changes, being able to make these changes quickly is really enabling them to manage their fleets and solve the customer problems that they have in a really exciting and new way. And in closing, I wanted to, Jonathan and I are able to come here and talk about Radio Central and the device cloud engineering team, really only because of the team itself, right? The team that we have, the people on the team and the engineers that work on these solutions are really incredible folks. It's an exciting team. We're challenging each other all the time in order to make our products better and serve our customers better. And it's really exciting to be in a place where that is at the focus of what we're doing and building around the things that make up a DevOps culture within a team. And we also get an opportunity, really unique opportunity at Motorola Solutions, where several different teams within Motorola Solutions are working on cloud next generation products. And we have a really, starting to establish a more mature environment where we're sharing all of the stuff that Jonathan walked through today with other teams and building this sense of cloud community that I think is really unique and really exciting to be able to take these solutions to our customers. Jonathan, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add to that.
Nope. And I just wanted to say, I guess one thing that, we get asked the question of, well, if you're pushing so frequent, are you reducing, the quality of the code? But what's really become evident for us with these capabilities is that we're investing so much in our automated tests that we believe the quality is much higher than what we would have had. So that's all I had to add.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So just another thank you to Silicon Slopes for hosting this and giving us the opportunity in order to share our story. Also, a reminder that November 3rd is going to be the next tech talk from Motorola Solutions about SRE. Thank you very much.
Thank you.